If you want to be a part of the conversation before it happens here on YouTube, click that link in the description to join the free Courtside Financial Discord.
What's up, guys? My name's Obi and welcome back to Courtside Financial. Today we'll be discussing some exciting developments from the Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer NIO. In this video, we'll be addressing recent pessimism around NIO and if I think there's still hope for the company. We'll also talk about the challenges that they're facing in Europe, and lastly, the newest model being released, which is the NIO ET5 Shooting Break. From technology to the news surrounding the business, I'll be bringing you guys all the latest updates around NIO. Before we dive into the video, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're new, make sure to hit the like button. That really does go a long way in helping out the channel, and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss out on any exciting new updates from Courtside Financial. Many have become pessimistic about NIO's future. Okay, so for starters, NIO stock has seriously been downtrending. Today, March 9th, 2023, it dropped just over 4%. Its one-year performance isn't that sharp either, being down 50%. A lot of this has to do with NIO making some big mistakes coupled with the condition of the stock market in general. That's the perfect storm for this brutal beating the stock has taken. Rightfully so, there's a lot of fear surrounding the stock and the company. Even so, I remain bullish for the long term. I already talked about NIO's fourth quarter earnings and how I was disappointed with them, but earnings aren't always going to be stellar. In fact, I remember when I first began investing in this company, it was a much scarier time. Before the company was bailed out by the Chinese government, if anyone remembers those days, the days before the stock would continue soaring to all-time highs. Whether we want to believe it or not, NIO is still a startup and a growth stock in a growing market. These type of companies come with tons of volatility, high risk, high rewards, and certainly a long-term play in my opinion. Enough opinion though, let's get into the facts. The Q4 report showed another top-line miss as well as disappointing guidance. Gross margins also took a hit, declining significantly and both sequentially and year over year. These two things were a huge setback for investors who were eagerly waiting for the company to become profitable. The company has already announced discounts during Q1 and is facing some sales troubles, which is unlikely to boost the margins anytime soon. This news is bound to make investors nervous about the company's future growth potential. Investors were in for a shock as NIO's Q4 results were announced, and the bad news didn't stop there. NIO's management is forecasting deliveries of just 31,000 to 33,000 vehicles for Q1 2023, a far cry from what was expected. While deliveries for the first 2 months of the year have already exceeded 20,660 units, March is predicted to be on par or even lower than February's 12,157 vehicles despite it being a longer month. As of the fourth quarter, NIO has a cash position of just around 30 billion RMB as well, and they plan to spend upwards of 20 billion RMB alone this year. Okay, so with all this not so great information, why am I still investing in NIO? I don't see NIO's efforts going to waste. Although they have caused some pain in the short term, I still see light at the end of the tunnel. Not too long ago, we talked about NIO launching its sub-brand Alps, which will have nearly as many models as NIO. NIO is actually doing this kind of backwards, which I'm not saying is bad, but it's interesting. You know, we saw Toyota before we saw Lexus, we saw Honda before we saw Acura. NIO aims to take share from the legacy luxury automakers. That was the initial mission and their market positioning. This move opens up the door for them to reach more consumers outside of the luxury market. In the luxury space today, what we are hearing is that these companies don't have the same allure that they used to. So on a very small scale, NIO is succeeding. Them being able to achieve scale and also do so outside of the luxury space would be huge. There's no arguing that. Some might say that's a tall task, but with more and more people moving away from ICE vehicles as time passes, they're going to select the best product on the market. We can't forget that NIO is a pioneer in electric vehicles and has some of the best technology. Another thought here is the way NIO set up their business, they almost have to continue to make these aggressive investments into battery technology, which is a great thing in my opinion. They need a lot of batteries to support all the swapping and new models, probably 2 batteries per every car produced, and that's a conservative estimate. We all know batteries are costly, so if they can bring technology in-house, that's without a doubt going to give them the cutting edge. Down the road, they could license out their battery technology to other companies. adding yet another source of revenue for customers who aren't even NIO customers but just EV customers. Things like this are reasons why I believe NIO is a long-term play. These things obviously won't happen overnight, and much like right now, there's going to be a lot of pain felt along the way. But fear provides opportunity, not to mention the fact that we know China has selected battery swapping as a preferred method of charging. NIO is creating a moat and positioning themselves well against market forces, in my opinion. NIO is pouring boatloads of money into R&D. Winning in tech, because NIO is a technology company, is all about iteration and adaptability. Spending money on R&D is how you achieve those outcomes. From my perspective, it's only a matter of time with this company. I'd love to hear what you guys think about NIO's future in the comments. I didn't touch on every point that I could bring up because I don't want to ramble. NIO's infrastructure problems in Europe. By the end of 2023, NIO plans to have 120 battery swap stations in Europe. This seems like a tall task given that 2 months ago in January they only had 10 battery swap stations in Europe. As of March 6th, the company recently deployed its first swap station in Denmark, bringing them to 12 swap stations. Recently, CEO and Chairman William Li mentioned that the company's infrastructure build-out in Europe is well behind expectations. However, satisfaction from customers who have purchased vehicles is up to par with expectations. In China, NIO swap stations are thriving. They currently have 1,321 battery swap stations. And as we mentioned in former videos, they have an ambitious goal of adding 1,000 battery swap stations in China in 2023. I think it'll be extremely important for NIO to succeed with getting infrastructure deployed in Europe, not just battery swap stations, but fast charging piles as well. In the last segment, I mentioned how big of a business there was around battery swap, batteries as a service, and powering your vehicle however you want to, etc. That's the moat they're trying to create. Many people will only buy a Tesla in the States because Tesla has a supercharging network. So NIO definitely needs to make their footprint in Europe. We'll continue to follow Europe closely and report on NIO's efforts there. NIO ET5 Shooting Break. NIO will be releasing a derivative of the ET5 sedan. The Shooting Break version of the sedan is depicted on the ET5 website, with the general design staying true to the ET5 sedan. The NIO ET5 Shooting Break has two motors with a maximum power of 150 kilowatts and 210 kilowatts, respectively. Made by NIO's Electric Drive Systems division in Hefei, it's capable of a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour. The NIO ET5 Shooting Break supports the option of a retractable electric towing hitch, which can tow up to 1,400 kilograms of caravan weight, just like a number of other NIO vehicles built on the NT 2.0 platform. One may anticipate that the ET5 Shooting Break will likely be the model that the firm starts delivering in July. The ES8, the EC7, and the ES6 all entered China's regulatory catalog in December of last year. The EC6 did so in February. According to earlier statements from the company's management, the NIO ET5 Shooting Break would be introduced in Europe in a few months. According to the co-founder and president Qin Li Hong, NIO will introduce a shooting brake version of the ET5, a sister model of the ET5, in June or July of this year. Qin says derivatives of sedans are very popular in Europe, but not China. Remember that they put a lot of money into R&D, so this model is expected to perform well in Europe. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you found it informative and valuable. If you're interested in staying up to date on the latest news and updates from NIO and the world of electric vehicles, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos. And as always, feel free to leave a comment down below with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.